Hey,
Hello.
hi, this is Brian and Christina from Your Healthy Steps, where we teach foam rolling and self-care skills so you can be active and pain-free. Yeah, so this is for educational purposes only. We're giving you 15 years of experience as neuromuscular massage therapists. So this is some information that we've shared with our clients in the past, and we're going to share it with you too, because
Absolutely.
I bet it could be helpful for you.
Yep.
Okay, so the muscle that we've been discussing this week can do some pretty interesting things.
Absolutely,
if it gets too tight, it actually can contribute to compressing nerves to your arm, which can lead to numbness and tingling. And if it gets really tight and it starts creating referral patterns, it can mimic a heart attack.
Right,
Symptoms of a heart attack, which is crazy.
Specifically the left muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to take it away?
Okay, so the muscle we've been talking about is pectoralis minor, which is the muscle right underneath your chest muscle, or pectoralis major, or your pecs. And so if you just take your hand and you put it like this, this is pretty much where this muscle resides. So it's the three fingers right up to the little pocket here between the shoulder and your arm, and dropping down to about here. That's the muscle. Right. So again, when it's tight, it can create a lot of problems for a small little muscle. It does a pretty big job. So the reason why it can compress a nerve is because the nerves that are coming out of the back of your neck drop down through here, go underneath the clavicle, right, or the collarbone, drop down, and see if I'm going against the camera, so it's a little bit difficult, but come down here to come out down your arm. And as it crosses this area here, it's when underneath that pectoralis minor. So when it's tight, the muscle actually gets kind of pushed down into or downward onto those nerves in the artery, and then you can get those symptoms, which is it can impact the circulation, it can impact the nerve, and so then you get the tingling, the numbing, and all that type of stuff. Right. And that's called thoracic outlet syndrome. And it's along with, this is usually just this area gets really, really tight. So there's other muscles involved, other stuff involved. But pec minor can mimic those symptoms. So people are looking for thoracic outlet syndrome when in fact it's just the tight pectoralis minor. The other thing it can do on the left side is mimic, and again, we're reversed here. So I've got my left arm up, but it looks like, I guess it is my left arm on the counter. It's always confusing.
No worries.
But the symptoms are going to go down the arm just as if you were having a heart attack. So we highly recommend that you have your heart checked out first. Don't say, you know, I'm having a heart attack symptom, so I'll check out my pectoralis minor. Go in, get a clean bill of health, and once that's done, and they're saying, look, you know, you're healthy, there's nothing wrong with your heart, then this is definitely, as opposed to thinking it's all in your mind, it could very well be, and these are very common trigger points, the pectoralis minor. And then finally, we're going to talk about trigger points. Now, trigger points are hyper-irritated points in a tight muscle. And when they get tight enough and get angry enough and irritated enough, they are called trigger points, and they fire off pain to other parts of the body. And these are called pain patterns or referral patterns. So this particular muscle, even though it's a fairly small muscle, has two trigger points. And they are right on the top portion of it and about just basically straight in a line, one on top of the other. And where does these muscles send pain? Well, primarily the trigger point or pain patterns for this muscle go right to the deltoid. So this is the main area that you should feel pain, right in the center, or I'm sorry, in the front part of your deltoid, right here. This is the primary place where you will feel it. But it can send pain anywhere in the chest area, anywhere on the sort of front part of your shoulder, down your arm, mostly on the inside of the arm, well, primarily in the inside of the arm, all the way down the forearm and into these three fingers. That's where you can feel pain. Anywhere along that line, that is the pain referral pattern for pectoralis minor. So people say, well, how do I know if I'm tight? We talked about that in the last video. But again, you know, if you can't raise your arm up backwards and you're having some of these symptoms, you're probably having tingling and numbing, it's a good bet that these muscles are tight. So pectoralis minor is underneath pec major, but when you foam roll in this area and using a foam ball, you can get in here pretty well. It's probably going to be tender, but you can get that worked out. I do think sometimes the trigger points might be a little bit difficult to find and get to, so that's where you get a therapist who's trained in working on the pectoralis minor to get in there and work those loose and get them to release. But again, self-care is great, and then stretching is always fantastic. So when we talk about stretching against a wall or a door, right, we're going to stretch this out. We want to start with maybe the hands up high, and we're in the corner, and we stretch and stretch this out. Then we bring our arms down to probably around shoulder height around this area right here. Stretch, stretch, and then a little bit lower and stretch, stretch. So we're getting the whole length because we want to stretch out pectoralis major along with pectoralis minor. So you're getting two bangs for your buck, loosening two muscles because they do have a massive impact on all of our the roundness of the shoulder, the tightness of the shoulder, all of that is pectoralis major and pec minor.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
So the stretching will do wonders.
Right. And we were both chatting. We were both saying that this muscle really does respond well
Yes.
to work. So whether it's massage or PT or foam rolling, all of it does respond very nicely.
It does,
to,
yeah. There are some muscles
work.
you just have to beat up. This one in particular, you don't have to.
Right.
It's tender. You know, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, great. I hope that was helpful. If you know somebody who's experiencing pains like we just described and they're confused and frustrated, please share this with them because maybe it's helpful for them.
Yeah, because we've had clients the people are like, you know, I don't know if this is just in your mind, but your heart is healthy, everything is fine. You know, maybe you should just focus on something else. And it's not fantasy or phantom pain. It is
It's real.
It's real. It's a tight, irritated point in the muscle, and it's going to send off that pain, and it is not going to go away unless it's dealt with.
Right. Yes.
So
So what I'll do is above, I'll put a link to the first video where we give you some more information about the location of this muscle and its actions. You can test yourself to see if you can actually put your arm, you know, and do those movements. And then in the comments below, I will put a link for you. So if you would like to register for our next upcoming class, just drop your email in that link. And you'll get a notification of when we have our next class coming up.
So I want to make one other quick point. I was just thinking about a client. Actually, I was thinking about me too, and I had all these tightness areas because I've experienced pretty much every type of muscle in the world. So when we're talking personal experience here. But one of the things, like if you're sleeping or if you put your hands above your head, like if you're laying down and you're looking at the clouds and your hands go numb, which is what was happening to me and a couple other of my clients that I had. That's another really good indication that this stuff up here is way too tight. And again, it's just simply putting, you think you're relaxing, and all of a sudden everything goes numb. That's, voila.
Okay.
You've got tight
Good
muscles.
tip right there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. So we'll see you next week. And if you have any questions, if you're dealing with some muscular pain, send us a message, and we will do some research and share with you maybe some self-care tips that can be helpful for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.